Sup everyone, we're back with more Greatest Attorney Chronicles. Let's hit it. Oh shit. The flames are coming back up, folks. Slam. Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice. Lord Van Zeeks! I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now, and ever since that time I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. Crush. So I welcome the chance to testify now, and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey. And what says the defense? Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment, he's not thinking logically. You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer and as his friend. Then that's what we must do. The defense has no objection, my lord. Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord. Here we go. The big man's testimony. The Reaper and the assassin exchange. Also, I just want to say they repaired that the witness bench real fast, considering, you know, Jigoku. Like he didn't break that shit long ago. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Ooh, yeah, that's, Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. Yeah, that second to last statement is, right off the bat, just... So you deny all accusations by the prosecution? Both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you masterminded the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believes me to be the Reaper. However, that is a fallacy, which I alone am in position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Yes? Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom? A desire to uncover the truth. Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty. From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you just said. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. I'm gonna go right to that statement because it's just too glaring for me not to point out. I might miss some funny dialogue, but... Instructs another to kill. It's number 4. Clint Von Zeeks and John H. Wilson. I'll at least press this statement first. There is a link between you and Gregson, though. Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons. He did? Such as what? Where to buy good fish and chips, and such like. But I had a feeling he was gonna say that. Well, that was convincing. Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university. That's right. He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo. It should be unambiguously clear, then, that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man. Sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. Something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me. And I know what that is. Sorry, I know you're my client, man, but I got something to show you. I'm not even gonna save. Objection! Because I know that this is the answer. What is this? An autopsy report. Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of the Lord Clint Von Zykes. What? My brother's autopsy report. I'm pleased to see. The defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Dude. Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel? The autopsy report of the professor's final victim is an undelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not that accursed name again. The professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Von Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone employed the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible in the document. As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Man, this is real awkward. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Von Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death, with a marvelous victory in court. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. It does seem plausible. From what we've heard about Genshin Asogi, he didn't seem like the type that would be a mass murderer. That's outrageous. And now 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector in the corner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. You ever think that maybe Lord Von Zeeks is a scapegoat? I mean, did that cross your mind, Kazuma? Because that's what's going through mine. Order at once. 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. Do I look like I asked? You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Yo, why is he so based? I like it. This guy frickin' went from being like the obvious big like a rival character, and then frickin' Kazuma takes over, and then all of a sudden he's on our side and he's just trashing on our opposition. It's so good. Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence. What? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was. Right, I see. You're that Asogi young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it? That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admit it then. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it. That's right. Even then. And that's when he took the swain, and that's when he failed because of the trunk, or the metal box. So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama. If the results of Clint Von Zeek's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the lead coroner, Wilson, must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barrick Von Zeeks. In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins. Exactly. And as was established was established earlier. It has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with the Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barrick von Zeeks. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Objection!
Damn. Kazuma Sogi. What? What you've just told the court. Are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper. What? Lord Van Zeeks? I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one. If Lord Van Zeeks isn't the one behind all this, then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. I believe I know who it is too. Are we gonna say it's Gregson? You. Just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... Oh god. I have to do the thing. Am I really gonna... No. Well, they said... Here, go back to history. Feeling this name was going to come up. But it has to... Okay, if the name comes up, then it's gotta be someone... It's gotta be someone that we haven't already talked about, right? I'm gonna try Gregson just for the heck of it. I don't think it's it. It's really palpable now. The overwhelming pressure that's making it almost impossible to speak before this gargantuan foe. But I can't back away now. There's no time. Oh. What's the matter, Counsel? I take exception at the look you're giving me. I was just gathering my thoughts. I'm ready to voice the defense's opinion now. Did I do it wrong? Very well. But before you do, a penalty for time wasting. Wait. Huh? Ryunosuke. Counsel for the defense, reveal your belief about the identity of the Reaper. So it was not Gregson. If you have the courage and the resolve to utter the name, that is. Just had a feeling... Wait. Courage and resolve? I don't know. It's not Van Zeeks. Wait a second. Authority in judicial matters, including the appointment of lawyer... No way. I mean, it seems plausible. I don't know the reason, but I feel like I want to present this. Only because it says that he's in charge of judicial matters, which, you know, Seishiro is the same.
Take that!
The music went quiet. Oh god, I got it right. Oh no. Oh no. The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself. Lord Mael Stronhart. Lord Stronhart. Yes, it's true that 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. He was there for that case. But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint von Zeeks, had been killed. It's because he... Oh my god. So he was in charge of the case before before Barrick took over. Oh shit. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. I wish it was. Well, Lord Van Zieks. 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession, but I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. Oh my fucking god. They were not freaking... They were not kidding when they said that this came from the top. Literally, the leader of Judic... The one in charge of Ministry and Foreign Affairs in Japan, and the dude in charge of the judiciary in Britain colluded together? That is insane. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector in the corner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world, by Seishiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. Bro, you know this dude's running the trial, though. How the fuck are we supposed to take him down? Do we have to bring in Santa Judge and then put this dude on the witness stand? Oh, the boot slam. The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. Holy fuck. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal. Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself. You claimed there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint von Zeke's autopsy. That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence? What? Gregson's dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand. No, that's the main series. That's not for this. You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything. Urgh! Damn. Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who can testify about the events of 10 years ago, is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. To get rid of all the remaining loose ends. The people that could speak up are now dead. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections. Dude, the three of us are gonna get stamped out if we let it end here. Kazuma, Ryunosuke, and Von Zeeks are all gonna end up dead. Kazuma. He's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Von Zeke's autopsy. Think, Toby. There's gotta be something. We gotta choose. We can't let it end here, obviously. He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks. Even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Scythe won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection!
Boom. 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 It's us. Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left. Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me. Kazuma, please. This trial can't end. Not yet. And he's desperate. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the truth. Based. The person the defense would like to call to the stand and testify about the autopsy of Lord Clint Von Zeeks is... Let me save here. I forget if I have 3 or 2 pieces of health left. I have 3, so I can do that at least. Oh boy. Someone that was... Well, it's, I mean, 10 years ago, she'd be 9, so we can't really do Maria Gori, can we? One sec. I have to let the damn cat out. Alright, I let the darn feline out. You know, there's only one person I can think. Gregson is dead. We can't talk to Wilson. Wait a second. Oh, it's between 2 people, actually. Maybe Mikotoba? Because he's the one that wrote the autopsy reports, right? It was only actually signed by, Mikotoba wrote the stuff, and the only thing that was in someone else's handwriting was, yeah, it actually... You know what? I'm gonna try him.
Take that!
It works. Heaven help us, another Japanese. Wow, racist, bitch, dick. An expert in forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Eugene Mikotoba, 16 years ago. He came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Asogi as a visiting student. And what could his testimony possibly tell us? Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report. Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature. It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. I'm glad that I got that right. I almost wanted to bring Strongheart himself onto the stand. The defense's demand is denied. What? But Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange. I did, yes. So present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence. But that's exactly why we need witness testimony. The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Oh, this fucker. Genshin did nothing wrong. It was all this dickwad on the frickin' judge's bench. Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
Objection.
But we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean me. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. Ugh. This futile game of revenge is over. Young Master Asogi. I can't do a long-winded scream. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm sorry. I would do that justice if I didn't even read that line. I fucking knew it would be you, though. The music! Mr. Sholmes! This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Objection.
Shut your ass up. Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Mayor Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. Is it really? And why would that be? You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the prevarications of your superiors. Oh, get outclassed, bitch! Order in court! It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court findings. Silence! He's right. The judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end. But will that really do? I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person here present who could honestly say that this is all... What's... The trial should go on. Summon the witness. That's right. We need to clear this up before the young Japanese fellow is... I can't read that fast. Oh, look at his face. My lord, you assured those present that you would uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself of this outlandish accusation. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of the British law. A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery. Testify. 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 Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it. I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. Get out of here. Get out here, bitch. The court will recess briefly. I have no intention of shirking from these allegations. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courthouse, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. Pardon? Migatoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Migatoba is here in the courthouse. Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you? My dear fellow, no one in a better position to answer that question than you is in a better position to answer that question than you, Shirley. I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know. Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However... What? You are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once. But of course. In fact, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you. Absolutely. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please. Oh, of course. In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand. Here we go. So it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial gonna take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I going to be plunged into this blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heat of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under. And on perfect timing, we have reached the... We are now starting to save over stuff from this trial. Oh man, this game is so good. Words cannot express how hyped I am. Oh, there's so much we gotta go through. Man, that entire section that we had with Lord... The entire section of getting him to come off his high horse and let Migatoba testify. That was so good. Like, everything that happened there was just... mwah, chef's kiss. Perfection. And I love that all the stuff that's happening in this case. We have all the... Ryunosuke being his usual freaking goated self. We have good old Sholmes coming in to save the day as always. We've got Kazuma coming around. He's like... Kazuma like practically breaking down just because he doesn't want the freaking murder of his father to get away. And then obviously you have Von Zeeks, who's just doesn't give a shit about what either Kazuma or Strongheart says, and just wants to find the truth about what happened to his brother. And also, there's still one plot point we haven't found out, which is who the hell is Iris's real dad? Like, that still isn't a thing. We know it isn't Professor Mikotoba. We know it wasn't Dr. John H. Wilson. So who the hell is it is my question. I don't know. We'll have to figure that next time on Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, though. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. See you next time. Adios, and ja matane.